Call whoever you want." He laughed, because men like Cole Harrington only laugh when they believe a woman has no one left. But in the cold glow of his office, with Boston Harbor Black beyond the glass, and Maya Bennett still wearing the apron from a 14-hour shift, one folded card sat in her pocket like a loaded secret. She had come for the money she earned. He gave her a threat instead. No witnesses, no mercy, no way out. God, at least that's what he thought. This story is about power-silent survival and the moment a woman finally stops carrying fear alone. Watch until the end, because the name on the other side of that phone call changes everything. Like this video comment where you're watching from and don't look away. Before that name changed the temperature of Cole Harrington's office, before Maya Bennett placed her phone on speaker and watched a powerful man lose color in his face, there had been an ordinary morning in Boston with dirty snow along the curb and a rent notice folded inside her purse. Maya almost did not walk into the glass lantern. She stood outside the restaurant for nearly 5 minutes, one hand wrapped around the strap of her bag, the other tucked into the pocket of her black coat. The wind came off the harbor sharp enough to sting. It pushed loose strands of hair across her cheek and carried with it the smell of salt gasoline, wet pavement, and money. That part of the seaport always smelled like money to her. Fresh, glass-polished steel valet exhaust perfume from women stepping out of cars that cost more than her mother's medical debt. The glass lantern rose from the corner like it had been built to impress people before they ever reached the door. Tall windows, soft gold light, a sign in clean white letters above the entrance. Inside, she could see white tablecloths, brass lamps, rows of wine bottles glowing behind the bar like stained glass. The place looked warm, safe, expensive in a quiet way. Maya knew better than to trust the way places looked. Her phone buzzed inside her purse. She pulled it out and saw her younger brother's name. Ethan Mom's refill went up again. Pharmacy said 118 more this month. Don't freak out. I can wait on the textbook for accounting. Maya stared at the message until the screen dimmed. Do not freak out. That was the family motto, though none of them had ever said it out loud. Her mother said it with a tired smile when the insurance company denied something routine. Ethan said it when tuition came due, and the college sent another polite reminder. Maya said it every time she counted cash at the kitchen table and made numbers stretch farther than numbers were supposed to stretch. She typed back with cold fingers. I'll handle it, by the book. She hit send before she could think too long about the lie inside those 3 words. Then she looked back at the restaurant. Through the glass, a hostess in black adjusted menus at a marble stand. A bartender wiped down a counter that already shone. A man in a navy suit laughed into his phone near the bar, his face bright with the soft confidence of someone who had never once chosen between medicine and rent. Maya inhaled once, lifted her chin, and went inside. Warm air closed around her immediately. The shift from winter to heat made her eyes water, but she blinked it away before anyone could mistake it for nerves. The hostess looked up, smile fixed and professional. Can I help you? I'm here for an interview. Maya Bennett, 11:30. The hostess looked down at a small tablet, tapped twice, then looked past Maya toward a hallway near the back. Marla will be with you in a minute. Maya nodded and stepped aside. She did not sit. Sitting made waiting feel longer. She watched the dining room instead. The place was even more beautiful from the inside. Every surface had been chosen to say something. The wood floors were dark and glossy. The ceiling lights were low and warm. The tables were spaced far apart, so guests could feel private, important, protected from the noise of ordinary life. Outside the tall windows, Boston Harbor moved in cold, gray pieces beneath the morning sky. A restaurant like this did not sell food first. Maya knew that. It sold the feeling of being above worry. She wondered what that felt like. Maya Bennett. The voice came from the hallway. Maya turned. The woman walking toward her was in her 50s, trim-controlled with careful blonde hair and a navy blazer that looked like it had never touched the back of a chair. Her smile was pleasant, but it stopped before it reached her eyes. "I'm Marla Pierce, Human Resources." Maya extended her hand. "Nice to meet you." Marla shook it lightly, already turning. "Come with me." The office where they interviewed her was not Cole Harrington's office. Maya would learn that later. This one was smaller, brighter, more functional, with a printer in the corner file cabinets along one wall and a framed poster about workplace respect hanging behind Marla's desk. Maya noticed the poster because she noticed things. She had been waitressing since she was 19. Noticing was part of the job. The mood at a table, the guest who wanted to be left alone, the man who touched the server's wrist and called it friendly, the woman quietly checking the price of wine before ordering, the kitchen on the edge of collapse, a manager lying with a smile. Marla gestured to the chair. This time Maya sat. The interview lasted 12 minutes. Marla asked about experience availability, wine knowledge, conflict with guests, comfort with high-volume service. Maya answered clearly. She had worked breakfast diners, hotel banquets, private events, 2 Italian places in the North End and 1 steakhouse where the chef threw plates when he was tired. She could open wine, carry 6 plates, calm an angry guest cover for a late coworker, and smile through back pain without making it anyone else's problem. Marla seemed satisfied before Maya finished speaking. "We like people who can manage themselves," Marla said, clicking through something on her computer. "This is a demanding room. Our guests expect polish. I understand. You'll be classified as an independent contractor for scheduling purposes. It gives us flexibility, and it gives you flexibility." Maya heard the word flexibility and felt the small warning underneath it. Flexibility almost never meant flexibility for the person who needed the paycheck. Marla slid a packet across the desk. Black shirt, black pants, black shoes, hair back. Apron provided. No visible phone on the floor. No personal conversations in guest areas. Tips are reported nightly. Pay is processed monthly. Monthly, Maya asked before she could stop herself. Marla's eyes lifted. Maya corrected her tone. "That's fine. I just wanted to confirm." "Monthly," Marla said. "Deductions may apply for policy violations, service errors, or loss of property." Maya looked down at the paperwork. The print was small, dense, built to be signed, not understood. How were deductions determined? Marla's smile returned thinner now. Case by case. It rarely becomes an issue for strong staff. There it was. A little door closing. Maya thought of Ethan's textbook, her mother's prescription. The rent notice folded inside her purse like a second heartbeat. She picked up the pen. "Where do I sign?" Marla's expression warmed again. "Here, here, and here." Maya signed. By the time she stepped back outside, the cold felt cleaner than the restaurant air. She stood near the curb and let it hit her face. Her hand shook a little as she pulled out her phone. She called Ethan. He answered on the second ring. "Tell me good news. I start Thursday." For a second, he was quiet. Then he let out a breath that sounded older than 20. "Thank God. Buy the book," she said. "Maya, buy it." He laughed softly, but there was wetness in it. "You're bossy. I'm the oldest. It's in the contract. Mom's sleeping. I'll tell her when she wakes up." "No, tell her I got something stable." "Is it stable?" Maya looked back at the glass lantern. Through the windows, the tables gleamed like promises made by people who could afford to break them. "It will be," she said. She started Thursday. She arrived 30 minutes early because being early was one of the few forms of control she could afford. The staff entrance was in the back alley beside stacked crates and a metal door that groaned when it opened. Inside, the warmth was different from the dining room. Kitchen heat, cleaning chemicals, coffee, burned butter, human fatigue. A line cook with tattooed forearms pointed her toward the lockers without stopping his prep. "New girl, Maya. Aprons are on the shelf. Don't block the pass when dinner starts." "Noted." The staff room was narrow with metal lockers, a bench, a time clock she would later learn contractors were not allowed to use, and a mirror that made everyone look slightly gray. Maya tied her hair back, changed shoes, put on the black apron, and looked at herself. She looked like every other server. That helped. On the floor, a senior server named June Parker trained her. June was in her late 40s with dark hair threaded with silver, and the watchful eyes of someone who had worked too many years around men who mistook exhaustion for permission. "You ever worked fine dining?" June asked. "Yes. Fine dining in Boston." "Yes." "Good. Then you know half the job is pretending people are charming when they're just rich." Maya smiled despite herself. June's mouth twitched. "There she is. Keep that smile. Use it carefully." The first shift moved fast. Maya learned table numbers, service paths, wine storage, the rhythm of the kitchen, which bartender snapped under pressure, which busser saved drowning servers without being asked which guests were regulars, and which regulars believed regular meant owner. She was good. That was not arrogance. It was a fact built from years of aching feet and split shifts. She knew when to approach and when to vanish. She could hear the difference between a guest looking for attention and a guest looking for an excuse to complain. She learned the menu in 2 days, the wine pairings in 3, the kitchen's moods in 4. By the second week, guests began remembering her. Maya Wright. "Yes, Mr. Avery. Good to see you again." The same Pinot Noir. He blinked, pleased. "You remember that?" "I remember you said your wife liked it better than yours." His wife laughed. He tipped well. A mother with 2 restless children asked for Maya the next time she came in because Maya had brought the kids bread before they started crying. A quiet, older man at table 12 always wanted hot tea after dessert, and Maya brought it before he asked. A couple celebrating an anniversary said she made the night feel easy. Easy was the highest compliment in a restaurant like the Glass Lantern. It meant no one saw the labor. At home, Maya counted her first week of tips at the kitchen table. Elaine Bennett sat across from her in a faded robe, fingers wrapped around a mug of tea she had reheated 3 times and still not finished. Illness had thinned her, but not erased her beauty. She still had the kind of face people trusted. Maya had inherited her eyes and none of her softness. "This place sounds fancy," Elaine said. "It is fancy. Are they kind?" Maya smiled without looking up from the cash. "Mom, that is not an answer. It's work." Elaine watched her daughter separate money into envelopes. Rent, medicine, Ethan, groceries, emergency. The emergency envelope received $12. Elaine reached across the table and touched Maya's wrist. "You do too much." Maya kept counting. "I do what needs doing. That's not the same thing. It is in this apartment." Ethan came in then, backpack slung over one shoulder, cheeks red from the cold. "I got the book," he announced. "Used. Missing the first chapter, but who needs the first chapter?" Maya looked up. He grinned at her. Kidding. Mostly. Elaine shook her head, but she was smiling. For a few minutes, the apartment felt almost normal. Small, tired, crowded with bills and pill bottles, but alive. Ethan ate, standing at the counter while explaining a professor who hated everyone equally. Elaine laughed, then coughed, then waved off Maya's concern. Maya folded $20 bills into the rent envelope and let herself believe just for that evening that the job might be enough. She met Cole Harrington properly at the end of her second week. It was a Friday night, full house, bad weather guests arriving damp and impatient. The dining room glowed against the dark windows. Wine moved. Plates flashed beneath warm lights. The kitchen was running 10 minutes behind, which meant every server was buying time with charm and bread. Maya was clearing a 4-person table near the windows when the air behind her changed. She felt it before she saw him. Some people entered a room and brought noise. Cole Harrington brought ownership. He stood near the bar in a white dress shirt, dark trousers, and a navy tie loosened just enough to suggest he was too important to be fully formal. His hair was neatly cut, his smile easy, his watch expensive without being loud. He looked younger than 42 when he smiled and older when he stopped. He moved through the dining room slowly, touching a chair here, greeting a guest there, accepting praise as if it were interest paid on property he already owned. Then he stopped at the edge of Maya's section. She felt his attention settle on her. Not glance, not notice. Settle. She lifted a tray of empty glasses and turned. Cole smiled. "You're Maya." "Yes, Mr. Harrington. I know." His smile deepened a little. "People are talking about you." She kept her expression professional. "I hope that's good." "It is." He stepped closer, not enough to be improper, just enough to make her aware of the space between them. "You have a natural way with guests. Warm without seeming desperate. That's rare." A compliment that felt like fingers closing around something. "Thank you," Maya said. "How are you settling in?" "Very well." "Marla treating you right?" "Yes." "June?" "Yes." "Good." His eyes moved over her face, her hair, her apron, the tray in her hands. "I like knowing my people are comfortable." "My people." Maya adjusted her grip on the tray. "I should get these to the bar." "Of course." He stepped aside. As she passed, his hand touched her upper arm. Lightly. Briefly. Maybe nothing. Maybe a gesture any owner might make in a crowded restaurant. But his fingers stayed 1 second too long. Maya kept walking. Behind the bar, she set the tray down and looked at her own reflection in the mirrored shelves between bottles of gin and whiskey. Her face gave nothing away. Good, she thought. That night after Close June found her by the staff lockers, Maya was untying her apron. June stood beside her folding napkin she did not need to fold. "You did well tonight," June said. "Thanks. Cole talked to you." Maya looked over. June kept folding. "He does that with new staff. Talks to them. Not all of them." The room hummed with old pipes. Somewhere down the hall someone laughed too loudly, then stopped. Maya put her apron into her locker. "He complimented my work." "I'm sure he did." There was no bitterness in June's voice. That made it worse. Maya closed the locker door. "Is there something I should know?" June finally looked at her. The older woman's face had changed. No humor now, no restaurant toughness, just a tired kind of warning. "Don't stay alone after closing if you can help it. If he asks you to his office, find a reason to bring someone. Marla, me, anyone." Maya's stomach tightened, but she kept her face still. Has he done something? June's eyes shifted toward the hallway. That question doesn't help as much as people think it does. Maya said nothing. June picked up her coat. "Keep your shifts professional. Keep records of anything that feels strange. And don't let him make you think being polite means being available." Then she left. Maya stood alone in the staff room for a moment, listening to the restaurant settle around her. The warning should have frightened her more. Instead, it exhausted her. There was a particular kind of exhaustion that came from recognizing a pattern before it fully arrived. She had seen men like Cole before. Not always rich, not always handsome, not always owners. Sometimes they wore wedding rings and sat in booths. Sometimes they managed hotel banquet halls. Sometimes they called every woman sweetheart because it gave them cover to say worse things later. Men like that rarely began with cruelty. They began with compliments that required gratitude. For the next few days, nothing happened. That was almost worse. Cole passed through the dining room, greeted guests, spoke to staff, corrected a crooked candle, tasted a sauce in the kitchen, laughed with investors at table 7. When he saw Maya, he smiled. Always pleasant. Always controlled. She told herself June had been careful because life had taught her to be careful. That did not mean every shadow was a threat. Maya needed the job too badly to be haunted by possibilities. So she worked. She worked doubles when they offered. She picked up a lunch shift when another server called out. She learned which guests wanted sparkling water without ice and which wanted their server to pretend not to notice the second martini. She sent money to Ethan for a lab fee. She waited on hold with the pharmacy during her break and argued politely until they applied a discount code that saved $26. She bought cheaper coffee. She walked home from the train twice to save fare. She slept 5 hours a night and told herself that was enough. Cole's second private conversation came on a Tuesday. The lunch rush had faded. The dining room was quiet sunlight turning the glass walls pale. Maya was resetting table 9 when Cole appeared beside her. Maya. She looked up. "Mr. Harrington, I've been meaning to talk to you." She placed a fork beside a napkin. "About something specific. Your future here." The phrase had weight, too much of it. "I'm happy to speak with Marla about scheduling or performance." Cole smiled. "Marla handles paperwork. I handle potential." Maya's fingers stilled on the napkin. He lowered his voice. "Come by my office after your shift, 15 minutes. I have to get home after work." His smile did not move, but something behind it cooled. 15 minutes, Maya. She looked toward the bar. A bartender polished glasses with his back turned. The hostess was on the phone. No one was listening, or everyone was pretending not to. Maya picked up the last fork. "I prefer to keep work conversations during scheduled hours." Cole watched her for a long second. Then he chuckled softly, like she had said something amusing. "Careful," he said. Maya met his eyes. With what? With making everything so formal. He walked away before she could answer. That night, Maya went home with a headache pressing behind her eyes. Elaine was asleep. Ethan had left a plate in the fridge with a note on top. "Eat this or I'm telling Mom." Maya smiled, despite herself heated the food and sat at the kitchen table. She opened her laptop while she ate and created a folder. Glass Lantern Records. She stared at the empty folder for a while. Then she opened a document and typed the date. Tuesday, March 12th. "Cole Harrington asked me to come to his office after shift to discuss my future here. I said I preferred work conversations during scheduled hours. He told me to be careful with making everything so formal." She saved it. The act felt small. Still, it steadied her. Over the next week, Cole returned to Pleasant. That was part of the rhythm. Pressure, then space. A person could convince herself she had imagined pressure if the space afterward was quiet enough. Maya tried to let the quiet be quiet. One Friday evening, the Glass Lantern hosted a private birthday dinner for a woman whose diamond necklace flashed every time she laughed. Maya handled half the room with another server. She was flawless. She knew she was. Even June caught her eye near the pass and gave a small approving nod. At the end of the night, Cole intercepted Maya near the wine storage. "You were impressive tonight." "Thank you. I mean that." He leaned one shoulder against the wall. "You have something, Maya. There are servers who serve, and there are servers people remember. I'm glad the guests were happy." Always the professional answer. "It's a professional setting." His smile thinned. "You don't relax easily, do you?" "I'm working." "You're always working." The hallway was narrow. The wine room door was behind her. The kitchen noise felt too far away. Maya shifted one step to the side. Cole noticed. His gaze dropped to the movement, then returned to her face. "I don't bite," he said. Maya said nothing. He laughed softly. "There's a management track here for the right person. Better shifts, better money, stability." The word stability moved through her like a hook. Cole saw it land. "There are ways to make life easier," he said. Maya thought of rent, medication, Ethan, Elaine asleep under a thin blanket because they kept the heat low. Then she thought of June's warning. "I should finish closing my section," she said. Cole's expression did not change quickly. It changed slowly, like a curtain being drawn. "Of course." She moved past him. He let her. That was the part that made her hands shake afterward. Not that he stopped her. He did not. Not that he said something plainly ugly. He had not. It was the sense that he had placed an invisible mark on the wall and watched exactly where she stood in relation to it. At home, she typed another note into the folder. Friday, March 22nd. "Cole Harrington spoke to me near wine storage after private event. Mentioned management track, better shifts, better money, ways to make life easier. I left conversation." She added details. Time, location, who was nearby. Then she closed the laptop and sat in the dark kitchen. Elaine called from the living room, voice rough with sleep. "Maya." "I'm here. You okay?" Maya looked at the laptop. "Yes," she said, "just tired." The lie came easily. Too easily. By the end of the month, Maya had become one of the strongest servers on the floor. Guests asked for her. Tips improved. Marla sent a brief email saying several positive comments had mentioned her by name. June trusted her enough to swap sections without hovering. The kitchen respected her because she did not blame them in front of guests and did not bring chaos to the pass. For a moment, the job seemed to be doing what she needed it to do. The rent envelope filled faster. Elaine got her refill on time. Ethan stopped joking about dropping classes. Maya bought a bag of decent coffee and felt reckless doing it. On the last Sunday of March, she took her mother to Castle Island because Elaine wanted to see the water. The air was cold but bright. Ethan walked ahead with his hands in his pockets, pretending not to watch their mother's slower steps. Elaine sat on a bench facing the harbor, scarf pulled up around her neck. "You look thinner," she said. Maya handed her a paper cup of tea. "You say that when you're worried. I'm your mother. Worry is my profession." "I'm fine." Elaine gave her a look. Maya smiled. "I'm managing." That is closer to honest. They watched gulls cut through the wind. After a while, Elaine said, "A job can save you and still take pieces from you." Maya looked at her. Elaine kept her eyes on the water. "I worked for a man like that once. Different place. Different kind of man, same eyes." Maya's throat tightened. "What happened?" "I left later than I should have." "Why?" Elaine laughed quietly, without humor. "Because I had a baby. Because rent existed. Because shame is very good at disguising itself as responsibility." Maya looked down at her hands. Elaine reached for her. "I am not telling you what to do. I know the weight you carry. I know some choices are only choices to people watching from the outside." Maya squeezed her mother's hand. "I can handle him." Elaine turned then. "Him." Maya realized too late what she had said. The wind moved between them. Maya looked back at the harbor. "My boss is strange," she said. Elaine did not push. That was one of the hardest kindnesses she had ever learned. Instead, she said, "Then be less alone with it." Maya nodded, but inside she resisted the words. Being less alone sounded simple to people who had somewhere safe to put the truth. Maya did not yet know where that place was. The next morning, the April schedule was posted. Maya opened it on her phone while standing in the staff room, coat still on coffee, cooling in her hand. For a few seconds, she did not understand what she was seeing. Her Friday dinner shift was gone. Her Saturday dinner shift was gone. In their place were Tuesday lunch and Wednesday lunch, the slowest shifts in the restaurant. June entered behind her and stopped. Maya did not turn around. June did not ask what happened. She only looked at the phone screen in Maya's hand, then toward the hallway that led to Cole Harrington's office. The restaurant lights hummed overhead. Maya locked her phone, slipped it into her apron pocket, and tied the apron strings around her waist. Her face was calm when she stepped onto the dining room floor. The first cut had been made quietly, cleanly, and with a smile still fresh in memory. Maya worked the Tuesday lunch like nothing had changed. That was the first rule she had learned in restaurants. The floor did not care what was happening inside you. Guests still needed water. Plates still needed clearing. The kitchen still called for hands. A woman at table 6 still wanted dressing on the side after insisting she had not ordered it that way. A man near the window still snapped his fingers because he had mistaken money for manners. So Maya moved. She smiled when she needed to. She apologized when it cost less than arguing. She carried hot plates against the soft skin of her forearm and ignored the sting. She refilled iced tea. She folded napkins. She recommended the cod. She did not look toward Cole Harrington's office. But every few minutes her mind returned to the schedule. Friday dinner gone. Saturday dinner gone. 2 nights that paid more than half her weekly tips replaced by lunches where guests split salads and looked irritated when the bill came. At 2:15, when the dining room thinned and the sunlight turned pale across the tables, Maya walked to Marla's office. The door was open. Marla looked up from her computer, then looked back down too quickly. "Maya," she said, "everything all right? I wanted to ask about the new schedule." Marla's fingers paused over the keyboard. "What about it?" "My weekend dinner shifts were removed." "Yes, I saw. I was not told there were performance concerns." Marla adjusted a stack of papers that did not need adjusting. "Scheduling is based on business needs. I understand that. I'm asking what changed." Marla gave her the soft corporate smile Maya was already beginning to hate. It had no cruelty in it. That almost made it worse. "Cole reviews staffing needs at the end of each month. My guest reviews have been positive. My sales are strong. I have not missed a shift. No one is saying otherwise. Then why was I moved?" Marla glanced toward the hallway. The movement was quick, but Maya saw it. "Management has discretion," Marla said. Maya held her gaze. "That is not an answer. It is the answer I can give you." The room went quiet, except for the printer humming in the corner. Maya thought about pressing harder. She thought about saying Cole's name. She thought about telling Marla everything from the hallway near wine storage, from the office request, from the way he stood too close and spoke too softly. Then she looked at the workplace respect poster behind Marla's desk. Respect, safety, integrity. 3 framed words, watching a woman choose self-preservation over truth. "Thank you for your time," Maya said. Marla's face tightened with something that might have been shame. "Maya," she said. Maya stopped at the door. Marla lowered her voice. "Keep doing your job well." It was meant as advice. It sounded like a warning. Maya went home that afternoon with $63 in tips. On a Friday dinner, she could have made $240, sometimes more. She sat at the kitchen table, took out the envelopes, and moved money from emergency into medicine. The emergency envelope was empty again. Ethan came in while she was still counting. He dropped his backpack by the chair, saw the envelopes, and went still. "Bad day. Slow shift. I thought Tuesdays were slow." "They are. You usually don't work Tuesdays." Maya kept her eyes on the cash. "Now I do." He pulled out the chair across from her and sat. "Maya." She hated when he said her name like that. Like he was not 20 years old. Like he had the right to worry about her. "I'm handling it," she said. "You always say that when something is bad, because something is always expensive." He looked at the envelopes. "I can pick up more hours. You have classes. I can manage." She looked up then. "No, you don't get to know me every time." "I do when you're talking about dropping pieces of your future to patch holes in this month." His jaw tightened. "You're not the only one in this family." "I know. Do you?" The question hit harder than he intended. Maya saw regret cross his face almost immediately, but he did not take it back. Elaine coughed from the living room. Both of them turned toward the sound. The argument ended there, not resolved, just swallowed. Maya gathered the money and sealed the medicine envelope. That night, after Ethan went to his room and Elaine fell asleep with the television flickering blue against the wall, Maya opened the folder on her laptop. Glass Lantern records. She added the schedule change. She attached screenshots. She wrote the date, the time she spoke with Marla, the exact words Marla used. "Management has discretion." Maya stared at that sentence for a long time. It sounded so clean. It hid so much. The next week, Cole acted as if nothing had happened. That was the second rule of men like him. They did not punish with clenched fists. They punished with silence, then waited for you to ask why. Asking why gave them pleasure. It made you stand in front of them and request the terms of your own suffering. Maya did not ask Cole anything. She worked the shifts she was given. She arrived early. She left with other staff. If Cole entered the dining room, she kept a table between them. If he said her name, she answered with professional calm and nothing more. At first, he seemed amused by it. On Wednesday, he stopped near her while she polished wine glasses at the service station. "Maya." "Yes, Mr. Harrington." "You've been quiet." "I'm working. You were friendlier when you started." She placed one polished glass upside down on the rack. "I'm sorry if my service has changed. I'll review guest feedback. That's not what I meant. She reached for another glass. Then I'm not sure I understand. He smiled, but the smile had edges now. No, I don't think you want to understand. Maya looked at him then. For half a second, something passed between them without words. He wanted her to be afraid enough to soften. She wanted him to see nothing he could use. A server brushed past with a tray of cocktails, breaking the moment. Cole stepped back. Careful with those glasses, he said louder for the room to hear. We've had enough breakage this month. Maya had broken nothing. The bartender glanced over, then looked away. Maya picked up the next glass and polished it until it shone. The first deduction appeared on the next pay statement. $45. Service adjustment. Maya sat at her kitchen table under the yellow overhead light and read the line 3 times. The refrigerator clicked on. A pipe knocked somewhere in the wall. Outside, a car rolled past with music thudding faintly through closed windows. $45 was not just $45. It was Elaine's copay. It was groceries for 3 days. It was Ethan's train pass. It was the difference between paying a bill late and paying it late enough for another fee to attach itself like a parasite. Maya opened the handbook she had saved on her laptop and searched service adjustment. One sentence appeared. Management may apply service adjustments for quality loss policy or guest experience concerns. No definition, no process, no appeal. The next morning, she went back to Marla. This time, she brought the pay statement printed at the public library. Marla looked at it, then at Maya. I can check the file. Please. Marla typed. Her face stayed carefully blank. It was entered by management. For what issue? Service quality. What service quality issue? Marla swallowed. There is not a note attached. Then, how was the amount determined? I don't have that information. Who does? Marla did not answer. Maya folded the paper slowly. Was there a guest complaint? Not that I see. Was I written up? No. Was I told there was a problem before money was taken from my pay? Marla's eyes lifted, and for the first time irritation showed through the fear. Maya. I understand this is frustrating. No, Maya said quietly. Frustrating is when a table changes its order after the food is ready. This is different. Marla's face closed. I'll make a note that you asked. Please do. Maya left the office with the printed pay statement in her hand. At the end of that shift, she scanned it into her folder. Then she wrote an email. She kept it precise. No accusations she could not prove. No emotion Cole could use against her. To Marla Pierce and General Management. I am requesting written clarification regarding the $45 service adjustment applied to my most recent pay. I have not received a guest complaint written warning or explanation of any service issue. Please provide the reason for the deduction and the policy basis for the amount. Thank you, Maya Bennett. She read it twice. Then she sent it. The reply came 6 minutes later. Your concern has been received. Nothing else. April became a month of small removals. Not dramatic enough to call an emergency. Not obvious enough for someone outside the situation to understand. Just one little theft after another. A section closer to the kitchen instead of the windows. A 3-table station instead of 5. A private party reassigned after the guests had requested her. A note beside her name on the schedule that said lunch support rather than dinner service. The money thinned. So did her sleep. Cole's corrections became public. He never shouted. Shouting would have made him look uncontrolled, and Cole Harrington valued polish above honesty. Instead, he paused beside her section during service and adjusted things that were already correct. A fork moved half an inch. A wine glass rotated. A candle shifted from one side of the table to the other. Attention to detail, he would say, just loud enough for the nearest guests to hear. Once while Maya was presenting dessert options to a table of 4, Cole stepped in beside her. Maya remembered to lead with the seasonal tart. We've discussed upselling. They had discussed nothing. The guests looked at her with mild discomfort as if they had witnessed a parent correcting a child in public. Maya smiled. Of course. The seasonal pear tart is excellent tonight. Her voice did not break. That was what angered him. She began to feel the restaurant watching, not openly. Restaurants were full of people trained to see without seeming to see. The bartender's quick glance, the host going quiet when she approached, a busser saying, "You good then," pretending he had asked about table 9. June, watching from across the floor with her mouth pressed into a thin line. One evening, Maya arrived for a Wednesday lunch and found June in the staff room alone. June was sitting on the bench, elbows on knees, hands clasped. "You filed something," June said. Maya stopped with her locker half open. "What makes you say that?" "Because he's doing the slow version." Maya shut the locker. "There's a fast version." June gave a small, humorless laugh. "There's always a fast version if they think no one is looking. The slow version means he wants you to quit on your own." Maya sat beside her. For a moment, neither woman spoke. The sounds of the restaurant moved beyond the door. Dishes, footsteps, someone laughing near the bar. "I sent an email about a deduction," Maya said. June nodded like she had known before Maya said it. "I filed a complaint 4 years ago." Maya looked at her. June stared at the opposite wall. "I was newer then. Still believed posters on office walls meant something. He asked me to dinner after a closing shift. I said no. He cut my hours. Then he told people I had an attitude problem." "What happened after you filed?" "Marla received it. Cole reviewed it. My schedule got worse." Maya felt cold though the staff room was warm. "Why did you stay?" June looked at her then. "My son was 12. My husband had left. My mother had moved in after surgery. Same story, different names." Maya looked down at her hands. June's voice softened. "That's how he picks. Not always, but often enough. Women with math in their pockets. Women who have to count before they can leave." Maya closed her eyes briefly. The truth was not new, but hearing it spoken aloud gave it shape. June touched her shoulder once, quick and careful. "Keep records." "I am. Keep copies somewhere he can't touch." "I do. Don't meet him alone." Maya opened her eyes. "I've been trying not to. Try harder." There was no judgment in it, just fear. The second deduction was $70. The third was $95. By then, Maya had learned not to open pay statements when anyone else was home. She waited until Ethan was in class and Elaine was resting. She made coffee she could not taste and sat at the kitchen table while morning light came through the blinds in pale stripes. Deduction, service adjustment, uniform maintenance, policy compliance, words changing clothes to do the same work. She called a labor attorney from a bench outside the courthouse during her break. The first office wanted a consultation fee she could not pay. The second transferred her twice and dropped the call. The third gave her 20 free minutes with a woman named Carla, who spoke kindly and did not lie. "You have documentation," Carla said. "That matters." Maya stood under a leafless tree phone, pressed to her ear, watching people in suits hurry past. But these cases can be slow. If they are classifying you as a contractor, they may try to complicate wage claims. Retaliation is difficult, but possible to prove with records. Harassment claims require specifics, patterns, witnesses if you have them. I have specifics. Good. I have one coworker who warned me. She might not want to speak. That is common. Maya closed her eyes. Carla's voice softened. "Are you safe at work?" The question made Maya look up. A gull moved across the gray sky. "I'm not sure how to answer that." "Then answer this. Has he threatened you directly?" "Not in words that sound like threats." "Has he asked to meet alone?" "Yes." "Has he connected your pay or shifts to personal attention?" Maya was quiet. Carla did not rush her. Finally, Maya said not directly enough. "I understand." Maya hated how much those 2 words helped. Carla gave her practical advice. Keep records. Send follow-up emails. Avoid being alone with him. Tell someone trusted where she was during late shifts. Save pay statements. Write down dates immediately. If wages were withheld, fully file a wage complaint. "Fully," Maya repeated. "Yes. If he refuses to pay wages owed, that changes the urgency." Maya thanked her. After the call ended, she remained on the bench for another minute, the phone in her hand, the city moving around her as if everyone else had been given instructions she had missed. That night, Cole found her near the side station. He seemed pleased with himself. "Maya, you look tired." "I'm fine. You should take better care of yourself." She placed clean knives into their slots. "I'll keep that in mind. You know all of this could be easier." Her hand stilled. Cole stepped closer, voice low enough that no one else could hear. "I don't enjoy seeing talented people struggle." Maya looked at him. "Number? No. But talent needs the right attitude. The attitude where I come to your office after closing." His eyes sharpened. There it was. Too clear now to pretend she had misunderstood. For 1 second, Cole looked almost excited that she had finally said it aloud. Then he leaned in slightly. "Careful, Maya." She felt her heart beat once hard, but her voice stayed even. "I have tables." She moved past him. This time his hand did not touch her. That frightened her more than if it had. At home, she wrote the conversation down with shaking fingers. She saved the document. Then she copied the entire folder to a private email account, one Cole could never access, one she had created at midnight with a password no one knew. The Whisper campaign started in May. It came softly at first. A regular who always sat in Maya's section began requesting someone else. When Maya greeted him at the host stand, he looked embarrassed and said, "Good to see you," without meeting her eyes. A table of 3 was moved after she had already taken their drink order. The host would not look at her when she returned from the bar carrying waters for guests who were no longer hers. Cole changed the rotation, he muttered. "Why?" "I don't know." "Yes, you do." His face flushed. "I don't want trouble." Maya looked at the glasses in her hands. "Neither did I." By the end of the week, she heard it directly. She was in the hallway outside the kitchen when 2 servers spoke near the storage closet, unaware she was there. "I heard she's difficult." "Who?" "Maya." "Really?" "She seems quiet." Quiet is always the ones you watch. Maya stood on the other side of the wall, one hand pressed against the tray she was carrying. Difficult. The word entered her body like cold water. She had not raised her voice. She had not insulted anyone. She had not missed shifts, stolen money, broken rules, embarrassed guests, or failed the work. She had said no. She had asked for policy. She had requested written explanations. She had kept her distance from a man who wanted access. Difficult was not a description. It was a punishment. That night, she came home to Elaine sitting at the kitchen table with an unopened envelope in front of her. Maya knew from the color of it. Rent. How bad, Maya asked. Elaine's face was drawn. 10 days. Maya took off her coat slowly. "I'll speak to the landlord." "You already did." "I'll speak again." Ethan came out of his room. "I can take a semester off." "No." Maya, stop saying no before people finish. "No." He slapped his hand against the doorframe, not hard enough to scare anyone, hard enough to show the frustration had nowhere else to go. "You're drowning, and you won't let anybody throw a rope." Maya looked at him. Her voice came out quieter than she expected. "Because sometimes ropes come with hands attached, Ethan, and not every hand is safe." The room went still. Elaine's eyes filled with the knowledge Maya wished she did not have. Ethan's anger faded into fear. "What is happening at that place?" he asked. Maya wanted to tell them. The whole truth rose inside her. Cole's office, the hallway, the deductions, the look, the way every exit seemed to cost money they did not have. But Elaine looked so tired. Ethan looked so young, even with his jaw clenched and his shoulders squared. Maya swallowed the truth back down. "My boss is making things hard," she said. Ethan stared at her. "That's not an answer. It's the one I can give tonight." She hated herself a little for borrowing Marla's language. Later, after the apartment went quiet, Maya opened her records folder. Near the bottom sat a scanned copy of her signed contract. She read the contractor clause again and felt the walls close in around every word. Independent. Flexible. At discretion. She shut the laptop. Then she opened the bottom drawer where she kept documents and cash envelopes and placed her printed pay statements inside a plain blue folder. On the front, she wrote in black pen, "In case." The words looked small. They were not. By June, Maya had learned the shape of Cole's patience. He could wait days between punishments. He could smile at guests while cutting a woman's income by a third. He could ask about her mother with sympathy in his voice and reduce her hours before the next schedule posted. He could make her appear unstable without ever losing his own polished calm. The restaurant remained beautiful. That was the insult of it. Candles still burned in gold holders. Wine still caught the light. Guests still leaned back, laughing, safe inside the illusion of elegance. Plates arrived perfect. Desserts looked painted. The harbor shimmered beyond the windows, and Maya moved through it all carrying a private ledger of harm. On a Thursday evening, during a brief lull before the second seating, Cole approached her near table 14. After closing, he said, Maya did not pretend not to understand. For what purpose? His eyes flickered. He disliked being asked for purpose. Purpose created records. We need to discuss your recent performance. Marla can attend. No. Then we can discuss it during business hours. His smile disappeared. You really think you're in a position to set terms? Maya felt the old fear rise. Then she felt something beneath it. Not courage, exactly. Something harder, more tired. I think performance discussions should have witnesses. Cole stepped closer. Not enough for anyone to intervene. Enough for her to smell his cologne. You're making enemies in a room where you need friends. Maya looked past him toward the dining room. June was watching from the service station. Maya looked back at Cole. I need my job. That is not the same as needing you. For one bare second, his face emptied. No smile, no polish, no owner charm. Just the man underneath. Then the mask returned. We'll see, he said. He walked away. Maya stood very still until she trusted her knees. June came to her side with a stack of menus she did not need. Go breathe, June said quietly. I'm fine. No, honey, you're working. That's different. Maya went into the restroom, locked herself in a stall, and pressed her palms against the cool metal wall. She did not cry. She had moved past crying into something cleaner and more dangerous. When she came out, she washed her hands, looked in the mirror, and barely recognized the calm on her own face. At home that night, she typed the conversation. Then she added a new line. I believe Cole Harrington is retaliating because I have refused private contact and requested written explanations for wage deductions. She read the sentence. It was the first time she had written the whole thing plainly. Her hands stopped shaking after that. The next morning, she sent a formal complaint to Marla, copied the general management email, and blind copied her private account. Specific dates, specific incidents, specific deductions, specific requests to meet alone. She did not use dramatic language. She did not ask for pity. She asked for investigation written explanations, restoration of wages, and protection from retaliation. The automated reply came first. Your concern has been received. Then nothing. For 3 days, Cole did not look at her. For 3 days, Maya felt the building holding its breath. On the 4th day, the new schedule posted. She had 4 shifts, all lunches, no weekends, no private events, no dinner service, no explanation. Maya looked at the screen in the staff room. Around her, people changed shoes, checked phones, tied aprons, pretended not to notice the woman standing too still beneath the fluorescent lights. June came in, saw Maya's face, and said nothing. There are moments when comfort is just another demand. A demand that the wounded person respond soften. Reassure the one who sees the wound. June knew better. She stood beside Maya in silence. Maya locked the phone and slipped it into her pocket. Then she tied her apron. The cloth felt heavier than usual. At 11:40 that night, after a slow shift that barely covered groceries, Maya walked home from the train because the air was cool and because she needed the anger to move through her legs. Boston glittered around her, careless and alive. Couples spilled out of bars. Rideshare cars blinked at curbs. Somewhere someone played music from an open window. She passed restaurants where servers in black aprons laughed together while sweeping floors, and for a second the sound nearly broke her. She was so tired of being strong in rooms that punished her for it. At home, Elaine was asleep. Ethan had left a note on the counter. "Saved you pasta. Don't argue with the microwave. It won." Maya smiled weakly. She ate standing up in the dark. Then she opened the blue folder marked "In Case" and placed the newest schedule on top of everything else. The folder was getting thick. Pay statements, emails, notes, screenshots, a record of being slowly cornered. Maya touched the edge of the papers and felt the strange comfort of proof. It did not save her. Not yet. But it told her she was not imagining the walls. The folder did not save her not yet, but it told her she was not imagining the walls. That mattered more than Maya wanted to admit. There were days when Cole's smile made her doubt the record of her own life. He could pass through the dining room with a hand on a guest's shoulder, laughing softly, asking after someone's wife, complimenting the chef, thanking the bartender. And for a second Maya understood how men like him survived so long. He looked reasonable. He sounded reasonable. Cruelty, dressed in good manners, could walk through any room without raising an alarm. So she kept the folder. She kept copies on her laptop, in her email, and inside the blue paper folder under her bed. Every pay statement, every schedule, every unanswered complaint, every note written late at night while the apartment slept and the refrigerator hummed like an old animal in the corner. By the middle of June, the weather had turned heavy. Boston heat pressed itself between buildings and lay over the harbor in a damp silver haze. The glass lantern stayed cool and golden inside all polished glass and soft music, a place where guests arrived, sun-warmed and thirsty, carrying the relaxed exhaustion of people whose long days ended with reservations instead of unpaid bills. Maya worked a Thursday dinner because another server called out sick, and June pushed for her to take the shift before Cole could refuse. "She needs the floor coverage," June told Marla in the staff room, voice flat enough to make argument difficult. "Unless you want table 12 waiting 20 minutes for water." Marla looked toward the hallway, then back at the schedule. "Fine," she said. "Maya can cover." Maya said thank you, but June only gave her a look. Do not waste gratitude on common decency. The dining room filled early. Rain had threatened all afternoon, but never fallen, leaving the windows filmed with humidity and the sky outside the color of pewter. The harbor moved beyond the glass in dark, restless folds. Candles burned low on the tables. Silverware flashed in careful hands. For the first hour, Maya forgot to be afraid. Not completely. Fear had become part of the room by then, like the background music or the scent of lemon oil on wood. But service gave her something to do with her body. It gave her steps, timing tasks, names. She could trust motion. Motion had rules. Table 4 wanted the scallops split as an appetizer. Table 9 needed a second bottle of Sancerre. Table 14 had a shellfish allergy. Table 11 was a first date, nervous suite, both of them pretending not to check their reflections in the window. Maya moved through it all with the old precision. At 7:40, the front door opened and the dining room changed. Not loudly. No one gasped. No chair scraped. The music did not stop. The hostess did not drop the menus in her hand. Still, the room changed. Maya felt it before she looked up. A shift in attention. A tightening under the skin of the place. The way a crowd senses lightning before thunder tells them why. 3 men entered from the rain, bright evening. The first was tall, but not in a way that asked to be noticed. His presence did that without help. He wore a dark suit beneath a black overcoat open at the front despite the heat. No tie. White shirt. The first 2 buttons undone at the throat. His hair was dark, combed back neatly, and a pale scar cut through the outside edge of his left eyebrow. Not fresh, not hidden, simply there like a line in a story no one had permission to ask about. The men behind him were broad and quiet. They wore suits too, but theirs looked less like clothing and more like decisions. Their eyes moved across the room with calm discipline. Entrances, corners, staff, guests, Cole's office hallway. They did not speak. The hostess straightened. "Mr. Cross," she said. Maya was at the service station with a water pitcher in her hand. She heard the name. She also heard the way the hostess said it. Too careful. Too polished. A woman setting a glass on a table, already knowing it might break. Dominic Cross looked at the hostess. His expression did not change. Evening Grace. He knew her name. That seemed to unsettle her more than if he had ignored her. "Your table is ready." He gave one small nod. Grace led them through the dining room. Maya saw Cole before she saw where they were being seated. He had stepped out from near the bar smile, already forming. But the smile was different from the one he gave investors or beautiful guests. This one had calculation in it. A man approaching another man while measuring the safest distance. Dominic, Cole said. Dominic Cross stopped. The two men behind him stopped with him. For a moment, the restaurant seemed to hold its breath beneath the music. Harrington, Dominic said. No handshake. Cole's hand had started to lift. He lowered it smoothly, as if that had never been the plan. "Good to see you in." Dominic's eyes moved over Cole's face with no visible interest. "You have my table." "Of course, best in the house." Dominic did not answer. He simply turned and followed Grace. Cole remained where he was for 1 second too long. Then his eyes found Maya. She looked away first. Grace seated Dominic's party in Maya's section. Of course she did. The table was near the window, private enough for important men, and visible enough for everyone to know they were there. Maya took exactly 3 seconds behind the service station before she approached. 3 seconds to breathe, to set her shoulders, to remind herself that every table, no matter who sat at it, still began with water. She stepped to the table. "Good evening," still or sparkling water. The two men with Dominic looked at him before answering. That small thing told Maya plenty. Dominic looked at her. Not at her apron, not her waist, not her mouth, her face. "Still," he said, "thank you." The thank you was quiet. Direct, not flirtation, not performance. It surprised her enough that she had to be careful not to show it. For the table, yes. His voice had weight without volume. Some men filled a room by making themselves bigger. Dominic Cross seemed to make the room smaller around him. Maya poured water, placed menus, described the evening specials. Her voice stayed even. Professional. She did not linger. When she turned away, she felt his attention follow her. Not like Cole's. Cole's gaze touched like a hand. Dominic's felt more like a question being held back. At the kitchen pass, June appeared beside her. "That is Dominic Cross," June said quietly. "I gathered. You know who he is." "No." June looked at her then, toward the dining room. Old Boston money with new Boston blood on it. Maya turned her head. That is supposed to explain it. June's mouth tightened. "He owns clubs, warehouses, private dining rooms, security companies. People say other things too." "What other things?" "The kind smart people do not repeat at work." Maya looked back toward the table 12. Dominic sat with one arm resting lightly near his water glass. He was listening to one of the men speak, but his eyes were on the room. Not wandering. Reading. "Is he dangerous?" Maya asked. June gave a short laugh under her breath. "Honey, every man with money in this place is dangerous. He's just honest enough not to decorate it." Maya picked up the bottle of still water. "Comforting. Do not be charming with him. I'm not charming with anyone." June gave her a look. Maya almost smiled. Then Cole moved near the bar, and the almost smile disappeared. Service continued. Dominic ordered simply. Steak, medium rare, no sauce, black coffee after. The men with him ordered with the efficiency of people who had eaten in expensive rooms often enough to know that food was rarely the point. They did not drink much. 1 glass of wine each. No loud laughter, no phones on the table. Their conversation stayed low, clipped, private. Maya did not try to hear it. Servers heard more by not trying. Curiosity was dangerous in rooms where men spoke softly. Still, she noticed things. Dominic thanked the busser who cleared a bread plate. The younger man looked startled, then pleased, then nervous about being pleased. Dominic moved his water glass slightly before Maya reached to refill it, making space for her hand without looking at her body. When Cole crossed the dining room, Dominic's eyes followed him once. Only once. That was enough. At 8:30, Maya was carrying entrees to table 11 when Cole intercepted her path near the side station. "Careful," he said. The plates were steady in her hands. "I have them." Cole smiled for the dining room. "You have been distracted lately." Maya did not answer. She could feel table 11 watching. She could feel heat crawl up her neck. Cole leaned slightly closer, still smiling. "Try not to embarrass yourself tonight. We have important guests." Her fingers tightened around the plates. For 1 second, she imagined setting the food down, untying her apron, and walking out through the front door into the wet Boston air. Then she thought of Elaine's prescription waiting at the pharmacy. She stepped around him. "Yes, Mr. Harrington." She delivered the plates perfectly. When she turned, Dominic Cross was looking at Cole. Cole was not looking back. That was the first time Maya wondered if Dominic had seen more than she wanted anyone to see. The rain finally came just after 9. It hit the windows softly at first, then harder, turning the harbor into black glass and the city lights into trembling lines. Guests leaned into the intimacy of it. Ordered dessert. Ordered another bottle. Asked for espresso. The room warmed with money and weather. Maya's phone buzzed in her apron pocket while she was entering an order. She did not check it until she reached the service hall. 3 missed calls from Ethan. 1 message. "Mom's pharmacy says they need authorization again. They will not release until tomorrow unless doctor calls back." She has enough for tonight, but not morning. Maya stared at the screen. The hallway narrowed around her. She called Ethan back. No answer. She called the pharmacy and got the automated menu. Her break was over. Table 8 needed their check. Table 12 needed coffee. Cole was near the bar watching the floor. Maya pressed one hand against the wall and inhaled. "In for 4, hold out." Not here. Not now. She put the phone away and returned to the dining room. She smiled at table 8. She brought dessert spoons to table 9. She refilled water at Dominic's table with the same steady hand she used for everyone else. As she leaned slightly to pour, she heard his voice. "Who made you cry?" The water stream faltered for half a second, then steadied. Maya straightened. "I'm sorry." Dominic was looking at her. Not unkindly. Not softly either. He did not look like a man offering comfort. He looked like a man requiring accuracy. "Your eyes changed when you came back from the hall." Maya felt the 2 men at the table go silent. She placed the bottle down with care. "Family issue," she said. "I apologize if it affected service. I did not ask about service." The words were quiet enough that only the table heard them. Maya's chest tightened. There were several answers she could give. "Fine, nothing. Personal matter, none of your concern." Instead, because she was tired and because his gaze did not crawl over her, she said the nearest true thing. "My mother's medication." Dominic held her eyes for a moment. "Is she without it?" "Not tonight. And tomorrow." Maya's throat moved. "I'm handling it." Dominic studied her as if those 3 words had told him more than the longer answer. People say that when they are tired of asking. Maya looked away first. "I should check on my tables." "Of course." He let her leave. That was the second thing she noticed. He let her. Near the pass, June caught Maya's arm lightly. "You okay?" "Yes." "Do not yes me. Your face is pale." Maya looked toward the kitchen. "Pharmacy problem. Go call. I have tables. I can cover." Maya almost accepted. Then Cole appeared at the end of the hall. His eyes moved from June's hand on Maya's arm to Maya's face. "What is the problem?" he asked. June dropped her hand. "No problem," Maya said. Cole smiled. "There rarely is until someone creates one." He looked directly at Maya as he said it. From the dining room, Dominic watched. Maya could feel it, though she did not turn. The rest of the night passed in fragments. A guest complimenting the halibut. The pharmacy held music buzzing against her ear during a 2-minute gap. Ethan texting that he reached the doctor's answering service. Cole correcting her pronunciation of a wine she had pronounced correctly. June sliding bread onto one of Maya's tables without being asked. Dominic's table finishing quietly. At 10:15, Maya brought the check. She placed it beside Dominic's right hand. "Whenever you are ready." He looked up. "Your name is Maya Bennett." It was not a question. Her fingers stilled near the edge of the table. "Yes, your mother's name." That should have offended her. It should have frightened her. It did frighten her a little, but his tone did not contain invasion. It contained purpose. "Elaine," she said carefully. He nodded once. "Do you have someone calling the pharmacy?" "My brother." "How old?" 20. Dominic's mouth changed slightly. Not a smile. Something almost like recognition. Too young to be the only one calling. Maya did not know what to say to that, so she said nothing. Dominic placed a black card on top of the check folder, not sliding it toward her, just placing it there. Then he took a pen from inside his jacket and wrote on the back. His handwriting was clean, controlled, old-fashioned in a way that did not fit the room. He closed the folder and put his card inside with his payment. "Run the card when you are ready," he said. Maya took the folder and left. At the server station, she opened it. His credit card sat on top. Beneath it was the black business card. Dominic Cross. A phone number. No title, no company, no explanation. On the back, in dark ink, he had written one sentence. "If anyone ever makes you feel unsafe, call me." Maya stared at it too long. June came beside her and saw the card. Her breath caught. "Maya." "I know." "No, I do not think you do." Maya closed the folder. "I am going to run his payment." Her voice sounded normal. That seemed important. She processed the card, returned it, and thanked the table. Dominic did not mention the black card. He did not ask if she would use it. He did not make the offer heavier by watching her reaction. He simply stood when his men stood. As he buttoned his coat, Cole approached the table with a smile bright enough to look false from across the room. Dominic, always a pleasure. Dominic looked at him. "Is it?" Cole's smile held, but his eyes tightened. "I hope everything was to your liking." Dominic's gaze moved once to Maya, then back to Cole. "The service was excellent." A small silence followed. Cole nodded. "Maya has potential." Dominic's expression did not change. "She has skill," he said. The difference between the two words landed quietly. Potential belonged to the person judging you. Skill belonged to you. Maya felt that difference somewhere deep. Dominic turned and walked toward the entrance. His men followed. The dining room made room without appearing to move. At the door, he paused and looked back. Not at Cole. At Maya. Only for a second. Then he left. The rain swallowed the black shapes of the cars outside. Maya carried the check folder to the service station and removed the tip. It was generous. Too generous, but not obscene. Enough to solve the pharmacy problem without making a scene of solving it. She folded the black card once and slipped it into the left pocket of her apron opposite her order pad. Cole watched from near the bar. The moment his gaze landed on the pocket, Maya knew he had seen enough to dislike it, and not enough to understand it. That night she walked home under a borrowed umbrella June forced into her hand. The city smelled like rain and hot pavement. Her shoes were soaked by the time she reached the apartment. Ethan was asleep at the kitchen table, head on his folded arms, phone still in his hand. Elaine's medication bottle sat beside him. The refill had been released. Maya stood in the doorway for a moment looking at them. Then she set down her bag and quietly covered Ethan's shoulders with a blanket. In the bathroom, she took the black card from her apron pocket and held it under the light. Dominic Cross. If anyone ever makes you feel unsafe, call me. She should throw it away. Powerful men did not hand out safety without wanting something back. She knew that. Life had taught her in small rooms, narrow hallways, crowded buses, and offices with respect posters on the wall. Help always came with a shadow. Favors always had teeth somewhere. She opened the trash can, held the card over it. The apartment was silent, except for the old pipes knocking behind the wall. Maya thought of Cole saying she had potential. She thought of Dominic saying she had skill. She closed the trash can. The card went into the blue folder under her bed. For 3 days, that is where it stayed. Then Cole cornered her near the lockers and told her he missed how pleasant she used to be. That night, the card moved into her purse. A week later, after another deduction appeared under the words guest experience concern, the card moved into her apron pocket. By then, Maya had stopped pretending she did not know why she carried it. She did not carry it because she trusted Dominic Cross. She carried it because Cole Harrington had built a room with no doors, and the black card felt like proof that one existed somewhere even if she had not decided to open it. Days passed, then weeks. Dominic did not return to the glass lantern. He did not call. He did not send messages. No men in dark suits appeared asking if she had changed her mind. That absence mattered. It kept the card from becoming pressure. Maya worked, documented, endured. Some nights she forgot the card was there until she reached for her order pad and felt the heavier paper against her fingers. Each time she told herself the same thing. Not tonight. Not for this. Not yet. Cole's patience thinned as June began standing closer during closing, as Maya stopped answering any question that was not about work, as Marla avoided her more openly, as the folder grew thicker, as Maya's face became harder for him to read. The last week of June arrived with heat lightning over the harbor and a restlessness in the restaurant that Maya could feel in her bones. Cole was on the floor more often. He watched without smiling. He spoke to Marla behind closed doors. He reassigned Maya's tables twice in one shift, then told a guest she was helping in the kitchen because service had overwhelmed her. Maya heard him say it. She wrote it down later. On Friday night, the dining room stayed full until nearly 11. A storm rolled over Boston close enough to rattle the glass. Guests lingered over coffee while rain ran down the windows in silver threads. At 11:20, Maya cashed out her last table. At 11:30, she wiped down the service station. At 11:37, Marla appeared in the doorway to the back hall. Her face was pale. "Maya," she said. Maya looked up. Behind Marla, the hallway to Cole's office waited under fluorescent light. "Cole wants to see you before you leave." Maya's hand moved once to the left pocket of her apron. The black card was there. Marla swallowed. "He said it is about your pay." Marla's voice barely carried across the staff room, but every word reached Maya with perfect clarity. For a moment, Maya did not move. The black card sat in the left pocket of her apron, pressed flat against her hip. On the other side, her order pad rested where it always did, worn at the edges from weeks of service. One pocket held the work she had done. The other held the door she had not wanted to open. Rain struck the back windows in thin, nervous taps. Maya looked at Marla. "Now," Marla's mouth tightened. "He said before you leave." The staff room had gone quiet in the way rooms go quiet when everyone pretends not to listen. One server bent too long over her bag. A busser rinsed the same cup twice at the sink. June stood near her locker with her coat half on her eyes, fixed on Maya. Maya untied the apron strings, then stopped. "Number, not yet." She tied them again. If Cole Harrington wanted the uniform on her when he spoke, he could see what it looked like when she walked out wearing it. "I'll go," Maya said. June stepped forward. "I can come with you." Marla's face changed. Fear first, then warning. He asked for Maya alone. Maya looked at June. The older woman's jaw was tight, her hand curled around the strap of her purse. "I know," June said softly. "That is why I offered." Maya wanted to say yes. The word rose to her tongue and waited there. Then she thought of the last 5 months. Cole corrected her in public, but he cornered her in private. He built every ugly thing inside spaces where someone could later say, "No one saw, no one heard, no one knew." If June came, he would smile and postpone. He would find another way, another night, another closed door. Maya was tired of being moved around his patience. "It's okay," she said. June's eyes sharpened. "It is not." "I know." That was all Maya gave her. She took her phone from her locker and slid it into her apron pocket beside the card. Then she picked up her blue folder from the bottom shelf of her locker. She had brought it that day because something in the air had felt wrong from the first minute of her shift. She had not known what shape the wrongness had, only that it had weight. Now she knew. Marla watched the folder with visible unease. "You do not need that." Maya closed her locker. "I do." No one stopped her as she stepped into the hallway. The back corridor of the glass lantern did not match the dining room. Out front there was brass light and soft music, the fragrance of butter and citrus, the careful illusion of ease. Back here the ceiling was low, the walls were scuffed, and the fluorescent lights hummed with a tired electric buzz. The kitchen had quieted after service, but heat still rolled from the line. Someone laughed once near the dish pit, then the sound died quickly. Maya walked past the office used by Marla, past the dry storage room, past the framed employee conduct policy that hung crooked beside the fire extinguisher. At the end of the hall, Cole Harrington's door was closed. She stopped before it, her hand lowered to her apron pocket. Phone, card, folder, breath. She looked toward the emergency exit at the far end of the corridor. Red sign. Metal bar. A place to run if running became the only thing left. Then she knocked. "Come in." Cole's voice sounded relaxed. That told her everything. Maya opened the door. His office was dim except for one amber lamp near the window. Rain moved down the glass in dark lines, blurring the harbor lights beyond. The room smelled of leather expensive cologne, and the faint smoke of a candle burned too long. Cole sat behind his walnut desk in his white shirt collar, open tie, loose sleeves pushed to his forearms. He looked like a man unwinding after a difficult day, not like a man waiting to steal a woman's wages. He did not stand. "Close the door," he said. Maya stepped inside. She left the door open by the width of 2 fingers. Cole saw it. His eyes moved to the gap, then back to her. "Close it properly." Maya held his gaze. "This is a work conversation. The door can stay like that." His smile appeared slowly. "There it is." "What?" That tone. Maya placed the blue folder against her side. "Marla said this was about my pay." "It is." Cole leaned back in his chair. The amber light caught his watch when he moved. Maya had come to hate that watch, not because it was expensive, but because he used it like punctuation. A flicker of wealth each time he decided someone else's time did not matter. "You are not being paid this month," he said. The words entered the room cleanly. For a second, the rain sounded louder. Maya felt the old plunge in her stomach, cold and fast. But it did not swallow her. It fell through her and struck something harder underneath. She opened the folder. For what reason? Cole sighed as if disappointed by a student. Accumulated service issues, repeated guest concerns, policy non-compliance, poor attitude. Maya looked down at the first printed pay statement, then back at him. "I have not received one written warning. The deductions are the warnings. That is not how warnings work. That is how they work here." Maya turned a page inside the folder. "Please provide the dates of the guest concerns." Cole's smile thinned. "Maya, please provide the policy I violated." He sat forward now, both forearms on the desk. "You are not in a courtroom." "No," she said. "I am in my employer's office after closing, being told I will not be paid for work I already completed." The office changed. Only a little, but Maya felt it. Cole did too. His expression lost some of its softness. "You have made this very difficult. I have asked for written explanations. You have challenged every decision. I have asked to be paid correctly. You have turned something simple into a problem." Maya closed the folder slowly. What was simple? Cole looked at her for a long moment. Then he stood. He did it with care. That was part of his performance. Nothing sudden. Nothing that could be named as aggression. He walked around the side of the desk, one hand sliding into his pocket, the other resting briefly on the polished wood. He did not come close enough to touch her, close enough to remind her that the door was behind her. "You are a smart woman," he said. "I know you are." Maya said nothing. "I have tried to help you." Number. His jaw moved. "I gave you opportunities." No, Maya said again. You offered me things that were not yours to offer in exchange for things you had no right to ask for. The silence after that had edges. Rain moved against the window. Somewhere beyond the office, a metal pan dropped in the kitchen. Then someone cursed under their breath. Cole's face emptied. For the first time that night, the mask slipped far enough for her to see the anger beneath it. You should be careful. I have been careful for 5 months. And look where it got you. He returned to his chair, sat down, and spread his hands on the desk. You do not get paid. Maya held the folder against her ribs. You cannot withhold my wages. I can withhold anything I need to investigate. There is nothing to investigate. Cole tilted his head. Are you sure? Maya did not answer. He opened a drawer and removed a thin file. He set it on the desk but did not open it. There have been inventory discrepancies. Her fingers tightened around the folder. There have not. Small cash irregularities. No. Guest complaints. No. Behavioral concerns. Maya stared at him. Cole tapped one finger lightly on the file. You think records only work one way. The room felt colder. There it was. Not the threat beside the thing itself. Maya's voice came out quiet. You are going to accuse me of stealing. I am going to say there are concerns that require review. You know that is false. Cole shrugged. Truth is not always the point. Documentation is. The word twisted in the air between them. He had known she was keeping records. Maybe not all of them. Maybe not the folder, the private email, the copies under her bed. But he had known enough to prepare his own paper shadow. He leaned back. Call the police if you want. They can come look through the files. Maybe they believe you. Maybe they believe the owner with the security system and the accountant. Maya's throat tightened. Call a lawyer, he continued. I have several. You have, 20 free minutes with someone who felt sorry for you. Maya did not move. Cole smiled. That smile did something inside her. Not fear this time. Recognition. He had watched her closely enough to know she had asked for help. Maybe Marla had told him. Maybe someone had overheard. Maybe he simply knew the pattern because he had forced other women through it before. Call the labor board, he said. You signed the contractor agreement. You remember that, don't you? You were very eager to sign. Maya heard Ethan's voice in her memory. Buy the book. She heard her mother. Be less alone with it. Cole folded his hands. You are replaceable, Maya. That is what you have never understood. Good servers are everywhere. Pretty ones, too. Sad ones with rent due and family problems are even easier to find. The words did not strike all at once. They landed one by one. Replaceable. Pretty. Sad. Easy. Maya felt her face go still. Cole watched her enjoying the quiet. Then he softened his voice. It does not have to end badly. Maya looked at him. He leaned forward. Give me one night without all this ice in your voice. One night where you stop acting like I am some monster for wanting what you know you have been offering every time you smile at a table. The disgust was immediate and clean. Maya was almost grateful for it. Disgust burned away confusion. Number. Cole's eyes hardened. One word, he said. Always one word with you. It is the only word you have earned. His hand struck the desk. Not hard enough to be violence, hard enough to make the lamp tremble. Maya did not flinch. That seemed to surprise him. Slowly, he sat back again. Then he laughed. Not loud, not wild. A warm little laugh, almost fond, as if she were a child insisting the dark was not dark. You are something, he said. Maya said nothing. He shook his head. Go ahead, then. What? Call someone. The room became very still. Cole spread his arms slightly. Call the police. Call your little lawyer. Call June. Call your brother. Call whoever you want. The line should have sounded ridiculous. Instead, it opened something. Maya felt the card in her pocket as if it had warmed against her skin. Cole laughed again. Put it on speaker if you like. I would love to hear who you think is coming through that door for you. Maya's right hand moved. Not to the folder. Not to the door. To the left pocket of her apron. Cole saw the movement and smiled wider. That's it. Let's make this dramatic. Her fingers found the phone first. then the folded black card. For 34 days, she had carried it and refused to use it. 34 days of telling herself it was not bad enough, not clear enough, not dangerous enough. 34 days of making the world smaller so she could survive inside it. Her thumb slid over the card's thick edge. Dominic Cross. If anyone ever makes you feel unsafe, call me. Maya looked at Cole. He was still smiling. That helped. She unfolded the card, opened her phone, and dialed the number. Cole watched with lazy amusement, elbows resting on the arms of his chair. The line rang once. Maya's heartbeat filled her ears. Twice. Then the call connected. No voicemail, no sleepy confusion, no irritated hello. Just a man's voice low and awake. Maya. Her name in Dominic Cross's mouth did not sound like ownership. It sounded like recognition. The room changed before Cole understood why. Maya inhaled. I'm sorry to call this late. Don't apologize, Dominic said. What happened? Cole's smile had not vanished, but it had lost confidence. Maya pressed the speaker button and placed the phone on the desk. Cole looked at it, then at her. My employer is refusing to pay me, she said. He says there are false concerns. Theft, guest complaints, policy issues. He is also saying there is a way to fix it if I give him what I have refused to give him for 5 months. Silence came through the speaker. Not empty silence. Listening silence. Cole sat forward. Who is this? He said sharply. Dominic did not answer him. Maya, Dominic said as the door closed. Almost. Open it. Cole's eyes flashed. Maya turned open the door wider, then returned to the desk. It's open. Are you hurt? No. Did he touch you? No. Is he between you and the door? Maya glanced at Cole. Number. Good. Cole picked up the phone from the desk. This is Cole Harrington, he said. His voice shifted into the polished tone he used with investors and city officials. And whoever you are, you should understand this is an internal employment matter. A short pause. Then Dominic spoke. Put the phone down. Cole froze. It was not the volume. Dominic had not raised his voice. It was the certainty. Cole stared at the phone as if it had changed weight in his hand. I asked who this is, Cole said. Dominic Cross. Maya watched the name enter him. There are moments when fear does not look like fear. It looks like calculation failing. Cole's fingers stilled. His posture stayed upright, but something behind it weakened. His eyes moved once to the open door, once to the window, once back to the phone. The color left his face slowly, not in a dramatic rush, but like tide pulling away from stone. He knew that name. Of course he did. Boston had names that moved above street level and names that moved below it. Dominic Cross was both. Restaurants knew him. Contractors knew him. Club owners knew him. Men like Cole pretended not to be afraid of men like Dominic until a room made honesty necessary. Cole placed the phone back on the desk with careful fingers. There has been a misunderstanding, he said. I am not speaking to you, Dominic replied. Cole's mouth closed. Maya, Dominic said. Yes. How much does he owe you? She opened the folder. Her hands were steady now. 5 months of deductions. 45, 70, 95, 130, and 170. Lost weekend shifts are separate, but the direct deductions total 510. This month's full pay is $2,800. Tips already paid separately. Total wages withheld and deducted are $3,310. Cole stared at her. He had not expected the number to come so cleanly. Dominic was quiet for one breath. Is he in front of you? Yes. Is there cash on site? Cole's jaw tightened. Maya looked at him. Yes, she said. Cole's face sharpened with anger. Dominic heard enough in the silence. I'm on my way. The call ended. For a moment, nothing moved. The rain hit the window. The lamp hummed faintly. Somewhere in the kitchen, water ran through pipes. Maya picked up her phone. Cole stood. You have no idea what you have done. Maya slid the phone back into her pocket beside the card. I made a phone call. His voice lowered. Dominic Cross is not someone you invite into your life. Neither are you. That landed. Cole looked toward the door again. His office suddenly seemed smaller, less private, less his. He picked up his phone and dialed. He waited. No answer. He dialed again. No answer. He placed the phone on the desk and looked at Maya. You think he is doing this out of kindness? Maya did not respond. Men like that do not rescue women. They collect debts. Maya looked at him calmly. And men like you call it opportunity. His face tightened. For the first time since she had entered the office, Cole did not have a reply ready. Maya moved to the side of the room near the open door and stood with the folder held against her chest. She did not sit. Sitting would have made the waiting feel like surrender. Standing kept her body in the truth of the moment. Cole remained behind his desk. He adjusted his tie, then seemed to realize he had done it and dropped his hand. He smoothed papers that did not need smoothing. He opened the thin file, then closed it again. He looked at the safe behind the framed photograph on the side wall and looked away too quickly. Maya saw it. The safe. The minutes stretched. Outside the office, the restaurant closed itself in fragments. Chairs lifted onto tables. Glassware clinked at the bar. The dishwasher sighed. Voices murmured, then dropped when they passed the open door and felt the silence inside. At 11:59, the front door opened. Maya could not see it from the office. She felt it. The building changed. First, the absence of sound. Then the soft scrape of someone stopping mid-task. Then Grace's voice from the host, stand too high, too polite. Mr. Cross. No answer reached the office. Footsteps followed. Measured, unhurried. One set first, two behind. Cole straightened. He moved to the front of his desk and stood there like a man remembering an old pose. Owner, host, authority. His face arranged itself into calm. His hands gave him away. The right one flexed once, then pressed against his thigh. Maya stood beside the door. The footsteps stopped outside. One knock, not loud. Enough. Dominic Cross entered. He wore a black overcoat over a dark suit, rain shining on his shoulders. His hair was damp at the edges. The scar near his eyebrow looked pale in the amber light. Two men stood behind him in the hallway, broad and silent, not trying to intimidate anyone because they had no need to try. Dominic's eyes went first to Maya. Not the room, not Cole. Maya, are you hurt? He asked. Number. Did he block the door after the call? No. Dominic nodded once. Only then did he look at Cole. The temperature of the office dropped without the air changing. Cole stepped forward with his hand half raised, then thought better of it. Dominic, he said, I appreciate you coming, but this situation has clearly been misrepresented. Dominic removed his overcoat and handed it to one of the men behind him without looking away from Cole. Sit down. Cole blinked. This is my office. Dominic looked at the chair behind the desk. Then you know where to sit. The line was soft. It landed like a hand around the throat of the room. Cole's face flushed, then paled again. He returned to his chair. Dominic took the visitor's chair across from the desk, the one Cole had offered Maya. Earlier, the one she had refused. He sat slowly with the calm of a man who had brought all the time he needed. The two men remained outside the open door. Every person in the hallway had gone silent. Dominic rested one hand on the arm of the chair. The tattoo at his wrist disappeared beneath his cuff. She says you owe her $3,310, he said. Cole swallowed. There are deductions under review. Are the amounts she named accurate? There are service issues. Dominic's gaze did not move. Are the amounts accurate? Cole looked at Maya. Dominic's voice became quieter. Do not look at her for help. Cole looked back at him. The raw numbers may match certain payroll entries. Maya almost laughed. Raw numbers. Payroll entries. Language trying to launder theft. Dominic did not smile. Good, pay her. Cole spread his hands. This is not how payroll works. It is tonight. I cannot simply hand over cash because someone makes a claim. Dominic looked toward Maya. Show me. Maya stepped forward and opened the folder on the desk. One by one she laid out the documents. The first pay statement. The second, the third, the schedule screenshots, the email to Marla, the automated reply, the formal complaint, the most recent statement showing no payment issued, the handwritten log of conversations scanned and dated. She did not rush. The paper made soft sounds against the desk. Cole watched each page land. His face hardened. "These are private company documents. These are my pay statements," Maya said. Dominic looked at the documents without touching them. Then he looked at Cole. "She kept better books than you expected." Cole's mouth tightened. "She has been building a case because she has been looking for a reason to retaliate against this restaurant." Maya felt the old anger rise, but Dominic spoke first. "Retaliate for what?" Cole stopped. Dominic leaned back slightly. "Careful. You're about to say something you need to prove." Cole's jaw worked. "She has had performance issues." "Which guests complained?" Cole opened the thin file on his desk. Maya watched his fingers move through the pages. "Too fast, too uncertain. There are notes." "Names," Dominic said. Cole pulled out one sheet. "A concern from Table 12, May 7th. Maya's mind moved instantly. "Table 12 on May 7th was Mr. and Mrs. Avery," she said. "Anniversary dinner. They left a 28% tip and wrote a comment card." Dominic looked at her. Maya reached into the folder and produced a copy of the comment Marla had once forwarded before everything turned worse. "Excellent service from Maya. Warm, precise, best experience we've had here." She placed it on the desk. Cole's hand went still. Dominic looked at the page, then back to him. "Next." Cole's face reddened. There were inventory discrepancies. "What inventory?" "Wine." Maya turned another page. "I do not have access to wine inventory. Only managers and bartenders do." Dominic looked toward the open doorway. One of his men shifted slightly. In the hall, someone moved. A moment later, the bartender appeared at the edge of the office, drawn by the sound of his own department entering the conversation. His face was pale. Dominic did not look at him. Cole did. "Go back to the bar," Cole snapped. The bartender disappeared. Dominic's eyes stayed on Cole. "Try again." Cole closed the file. "This is becoming inappropriate." "No," Dominic said. "It became inappropriate when you decided a woman's wages were leverage." The words entered the office and stayed there. Cole's eyes flicked to Maya. Dominic's voice cut in. "Again, do not look at her." Maya stood very still beside the desk. For 5 months, Cole had made her feel as if every room eventually belonged to him. Now he sat in his own office and could not control where his eyes were allowed to go. Dominic turned slightly toward her. "Is the amount still 3,310? "Yes." "Anything else owed?" Maya hesitated. Cole seized on it. "See, even she knows this is not clear." Maya opened another section of the folder. "Lost income from reassigned weekend shifts is harder to calculate. I kept records, but I am not asking for that tonight." Dominic looked at her. His expression did not soften, but something in his eyes did. "You are asking for wages withheld and deductions taken." "Yes." "Then that is what he pays now." Cole let out a short, sharp breath. "This is extortion." Dominic's face remained calm. "No, extortion is making a woman choose between her paycheck and her body." The office went completely silent. Maya felt the words strike her not as injury, but as recognition. Spoken plainly, finally, without making her smaller. Cole looked away first. Dominic turned toward the side wall. The safe. Cole's eyes narrowed. What safe? Dominic did not move. Maya watched Cole understand that lying about the safe had only made him look smaller. Dominic said nothing. Cole stood slowly, as if every movement could still preserve some dignity. He walked to the framed photograph near the side wall. It showed the glass lantern on opening night. Cole smiling beside a former mayor, both men holding champagne. Cole lifted the frame from its hook. Behind it was a steel safe. The combination dial clicked under his fingers. Once. Twice. The third time his hand slipped. No one spoke. He tried again. The safe opened. Inside were envelopes, a cash box, documents, a velvet pouch, and a bottle of bourbon that looked too expensive to be stored with payroll. Cole removed a thick envelope and returned to the desk. He counted bills with hands that no longer obeyed him cleanly. Hundreds, 50s, 20s. The sound of paper filled the office. Maya watched the money stack grow. It was strange, seeing her life counted out by the man who had tried to make her beg for it. Rent, medicine, tuition, groceries, sleep, breathing room. All of it passed through Cole Harrington's fingers as if it had never belonged to him in the first place, because it had not. Cole pushed the envelope across the desk toward Dominic. Dominic did not touch it. Give it to her. Cole's mouth tightened. He picked up the envelope and walked around the desk. For a second, he stood in front of Maya, close enough that she could see the anger trapped behind his eyes, close enough to remember every hallway, every correction, every smile that had asked her to doubt herself. He held out the envelope. Maya did not take it immediately. She looked at him. "Say what it is." Cole's eyes flashed. Dominic said nothing. That silence gave her room. Cole's voice came out low. "Your wages." Maya waited. His jaw clenched. "Wages owed." She took the envelope. It was heavier than she expected. Dominic nodded toward the desk. "Count it." Maya returned to the desk and counted every bill, slowly, carefully, without apology. Cole stood near the side of the room, humiliated by the arithmetic. $3,310. Correct. Maya placed the money back into the envelope. "It is all here." Dominic stood. "Now the letter." Cole looked at him. "What letter?" Dominic buttoned his jacket. "Company letterhead. Maya Bennett resigns in good standing. No allegations of theft, misconduct, guest complaints, or performance violations. All wages owed through tonight have been paid in full. No further claims by the Glass Lantern against her." Cole shook his head once. "That is absurd." Dominic looked at him. Cole's refusal died before it reached a second sentence. Dominic turned his head toward the hallway. Marla Pierce. No one moved for half a second. Then Marla appeared. She looked as if she had been standing nearby for some time. Her face was pale. Her hands were clasped tightly in front of her. Dominic's eyes moved over her once. "You are human resources." "Yes." "Then bring letterhead." Marla looked at Cole. Dominic's voice stayed even. "Not him, me." Marla disappeared. Cole stared at Dominic. "You have no legal authority here." Dominic stepped closer to the desk. "Then call someone who does." Cole did not. Marla returned with letterhead and a pen. Dominic looked at Maya. "Tell her what to write." Maya's throat tightened. No one had asked her that in this building. Tell her. Not ask permission. Not soften it. Not be grateful for scraps. Tell her. Maya placed the envelope under one arm and opened the folder again. She took out a blank sheet where she had once drafted language after reading employment forms late at night, never believing she would use it. She handed it to Marla. "Use this." Marla read it. Her eyes flickered once. Maybe shame, maybe surprise, maybe both. She sat in the chair near the wall and began typing on Cole's office computer because no one suggested Maya should leave the room. Cole stood motionless near the desk. Dominic waited. Maya watched the screen from where she stood. Each sentence appeared in black type. Maya Bennett has performed her duties at the Glass Lantern in good standing. The Glass Lantern has no pending allegation against Maya Bennett regarding theft, misconduct, guest complaints, or performance violations. All wages owed through tonight have been paid in full. The Glass Lantern agrees not to provide any negative or false employment reference concerning Maya Bennett. Marla printed 2 copies. Cole signed first. His signature was sharp, almost violent. Marla signed as witness. Dominic looked at the pages, then gave them to Maya. "Read them." She did. Every word. Then she folded one copy and placed it inside her folder. The other she held with the envelope. Dominic turned to Cole. "If her name appears in a rumor, I hear it." Cole's face was tight. "If a future employer receives one poisoned word, I hear it." Cole nodded once. "If anyone connected to this restaurant contacts her family, follows her, threatens her, or damages what she has earned, I hear it." "I understand." "No," Dominic said. "You're beginning to." Cole swallowed. Dominic stepped closer, not much, just enough that Cole had to tilt his head slightly to keep eye contact. "You mistook her silence for weakness because silence is the only kind of woman you know how to handle." Maya's fingers tightened around the envelope. Dominic's eyes remained on Cole. "That part is finished." He turned away first. It was not dismissal. It was judgment complete. Dominic walked to the door, then stopped beside Maya. He did not touch her. "Are you ready?" Maya looked once around the office. The lamp. The desk. The safe still open. The file of lies closed on the polished wood. Cole Harrington, standing in the room he had used like a weapon, unable to speak. "Yes," she said. Dominic stepped aside so she could pass first. Maya walked out of the office into the hallway. The staff had gathered without gathering. June stood near the service station. Grace hovered beside the host stand. The bartender wiped a glass that was already clean. 2 line cooks watched from the kitchen doorway. Marla remained behind Maya, silent. No one spoke. Their eyes moved to the envelope in Maya's hand, then to the signed letter, then to Dominic, Cross walking behind her with his men following at a respectful distance. Maya felt their attention. For months, she had carried humiliation through this building in private pieces. Tonight, the building saw her walk out with proof. June's eyes filled. Maya did not smile. She could not. But she looked at June and gave one small nod. June pressed her lips together and nodded back. Dominic crossed the dining room without hurrying. His presence made the beautiful room feel like scenery after the play had ended. The candles still burned. Rain still ran down the windows. The harbor still glowed beyond the glass. At the front door, Grace stepped aside. Dominic reached for the handle and opened it. Cold air entered first. Maya stepped out into the Boston night. The rain had slowed to a mist. 3 black SUVs idled at the curb, their headlights cutting white paths through the wet street. The city smelled of salt rain and exhaust. Somewhere far off, a siren moved through traffic and faded. Maya stood beneath the awning with the envelope clutched in one hand and the folder in the other. For the first time all night, her body began to shake. Not badly, just enough. Dominic noticed. He looked toward one of his men. The man stepped back without a word, giving them space. Maya laughed once very softly, but there was no humor in it. "I thought I would feel different." Dominic stood beside her, looking out at the wet street. "You are still in the doorway." She looked at him. He nodded toward the restaurant behind them. "Give yourself a minute to be outside it." Maya turned her face toward the cold air. She breathed in. Once. Twice. The shaking eased. Inside, through the glass, she could see Cole's office hallway. She could not see Cole, but she could imagine him there, closing the safe, straightening the papers, rebuilding whatever version of himself he planned to wear tomorrow. "He'll retaliate," she said. "No. You sound very sure." "I am." Maya looked at him. Men like him do not stop because they feel ashamed. Dominic's mouth changed slightly. "No, they stop when the cost changes." She held the envelope tighter. "And you changed it. You changed it when you called." Maya wanted to reject that. The words felt too generous, too clean, too easy for what the night had cost. "I waited too long." Dominic looked at her then. There was no pity in his face. She was grateful for that. "You waited until calling became possible." Maya swallowed. The mist touched her hair, her cheeks, the collar of her black shirt. "I did not want to owe you." "I know." "Do you?" "Yes." His answer was immediate, and because it was immediate, she believed he had thought about it before she said it. Maya studied him. The scar near his eyebrow, the dark coat, the steady eyes, the kind of danger that did not need decoration. "Why give me the card?" Dominic looked through the window toward the dining room. "Because I watched him watch you." The simplicity of it made her chest ache. That was enough. Number. He turned back to her. "I also watched you work. You were tired enough to break a glass and too disciplined to spill water. You were scared of him and still better at your job than anyone in that room. I know what it looks like when someone is trapped and still standing straight. Maya had to look away. Dominic did too, as if giving her privacy inside the silence. For a moment, there was only the city wet and bright around them. Then he said, "Do you have a way home?" "Yes." That answer came too fast. Dominic glanced at her shoes. Black server shoes, worn at the sides, damp from the alley before her shift even started. "Maya," she exhaled. "The train. At midnight, holding cash and documents. I have done worse. I believe you." The way he said it did not challenge her strength. It acknowledged it and still refused to make it carry everything. "One of my drivers can take you home. You sit alone in the back. No conversation required. He drops you at the door and leaves." Maya looked at the SUVs. Every instinct she had told her not to get into powerful men's cars. Dominic seemed to read the thought before she spoke. "Or I can call you a licensed car and wait until it arrives." That choice changed something. Maya looked back at him. "A licensed car," she said. Dominic nodded once and took out his phone. He did not argue. He did not look offended. He made the call. Maya stood under the awning, money in her hand, signed letter in her folder. Rain cooling the heat in her face. Behind her, the glass lantern glowed like nothing had happened. In front of her, Boston stretched wet and dark and open. When the car arrived, Dominic opened the rear door, but did not touch it after that. Maya stepped toward it, then stopped. "Mr. Cross." He looked at her. "Thank you." For a second, his expression shifted. Not soft exactly, more human than soft. "Dominic," he said. She held his gaze. "Thank you, Dominic." He nodded. "Get some sleep, Maya Bennett." She got into the car. As it pulled away from the curb, she looked back once. Dominic stood beneath the awning, black coat moving slightly in the harbor wind, watching until the car turned the corner and the glass lantern disappeared behind rain-streaked glass. The car smelled faintly of leather and mint, and for the first few minutes Maya sat so still that the driver glanced at her once in the rearview mirror and then wisely looked away. Boston moved past the windows in wet fragments. Streetlights smeared gold across the glass. Couples hurried beneath umbrellas. A man in a Red Sox cap jogged across an intersection with his jacket over his head. The city kept going because cities always did. They had no mercy, but they also had no memory. A woman could have her whole life cracked open in a restaurant office, and 3 blocks away someone was still ordering late-night pizza, laughing into a phone, dropping keys in a puddle. Maya held the envelope in her lap with both hands. $3,310. It felt absurdly heavy, not because of the paper, because of everything tied to it. Rent, medication, Ethan's books. A month without lying to everyone she loved about how close the edge had come. She touched the folder beside her, feeling the signed letter through the cardboard. Proof. That word followed her all the way home. The driver stopped outside the brick apartment building in Dorchester and did exactly what Dominic had promised. He did not ask questions. He did not make conversation. He simply waited until she unlocked the front door and stepped inside before pulling away from the curb. The hallway smelled like old heat-damp coats and someone's garlic dinner. Maya climbed the stairs slowly. Her legs felt strange now that no one was watching them hold her upright. Inside the apartment, the living room lamp was still on. Elaine slept on the couch with a blanket pulled to her chin. Ethan was at the kitchen table awake, a textbook open in front of him and his phone face up beside his hand. He stood the second he saw her. Maya. She closed the door quietly. He looked at her clothes, her hair, the folder, the envelope. What happened? The question did not come angry this time. It came scared. Maya set the envelope on the table, then the folder, then her keys. For a moment she could not speak. Ethan stepped closer. "Are you hurt?" The same question. Dominic's question. Specific, immediate. The kind that did not ask her to perform being fine. Maya shook her head. No. Elaine stirred on the couch. Ethan looked at the envelope. "What is that?" "My pay." His brows pulled together. "All of it. All of it." Elaine sat up slowly, blinking through sleep. Maya. Maya turned toward her mother, and something in Elaine's face made the last of Maya's composure loosen. Not collapse, just loosen. Enough for the truth to enter the room. My boss was holding my wages, Maya said. He was trying to force me into something. The room went silent. Ethan's face changed first. Anger came so fast it looked like pain. Did he touch you? No. Elaine closed her eyes. The fact that she did not ask what kind of something told Maya enough about what her mother already understood. I handled it, Maya said. Ethan gave a sharp breath. By yourself. Maya looked at the envelope. No, she said, not this time. She told them enough. Not everything. Not every look, every hallway, every word that had followed her home for 5 months. Some details belonged to her until she had strength to hand them over. But she told them about the deductions, the schedule cuts, the complaint, the false accusations, the office, the phone call, and the man who came because she finally used the number on the card. Ethan paced the kitchen once, then stopped with both hands on the counter. I should have known. Maya looked at him. No. You were coming home exhausted. You stopped talking about work. You kept saying slow month like that explained everything. You are not responsible for reading what I was hiding. He turned to her, eyes wet and furious. You should not have had to hide it, no, Maya said. I should not have. Elaine reached for her hand. Maya went to her and sat on the edge of the couch. Her mother's fingers were thin and warm around hers. Baby Elaine whispered. That one word nearly undid her. Maya lowered her head, and Elaine touched her hair the way she had when Maya was little, and fevers made the room spin. Ethan came over after a moment and sat on the floor beside them, his shoulder against Maya's knee. No one tried to fix anything. For once, that was enough. The next morning, Maya woke after 10 hours of sleep and did not know where she was for 3 seconds. Sunlight pushed through the blinds. Her body ached like she had carried furniture all night. Her phone sat on the nightstand with no missed calls from the glass lantern. That absence felt like mercy. She made coffee and sat at the kitchen table while Elaine took her morning pills, and Ethan pretended not to watch her every movement. The envelope lay open beside the rent notice. Maya counted the money again, then divided it into envelopes with hands steadier than they had been in months. Rent first. Medication. Ethan. Groceries. Emergency. For the first time in a long time, the emergency envelope was not empty. At 8:40, Maya opened her laptop and typed her resignation letter. It was brief, polite, clean. No accusation. No explanation. No begging to be understood by people who had benefited from misunderstanding her. To Marla Pierce. Please accept this letter as my resignation from the Glass Lantern. My final day of availability is 2 weeks from today. I am resigning in good standing, as confirmed in the attached document signed by Cole Harrington and witnessed by Human Resources. Thank you. Maya Bennett. She read it once, attached a scan of the signed letter, and sent it. Then she printed a copy at the library and carried it to the restaurant. The Glass Lantern looked different in daylight, less magical, more built. Glass that needed washing, brass that needed polishing. A sign bolted into stone. Maya entered through the staff door with the resignation folded in her hand. Marla was in her office. She looked up and went pale. Maya. Maya placed the letter on the desk. My resignation, I also emailed it. Marla touched the paper but did not pick it up. I processed the payment record this morning. Good. A silence opened between them. Marla looked older than she had the day of Maya's interview. Or maybe Maya was finally seeing the strain beneath the careful blazer. I should have done more, Marla said. Maya waited. The words hung there wanting forgiveness. Maya did not give it to them. Yes, she said, you should have. Marla's mouth trembled once. Maya turned to leave. Maya. She stopped at the door. Marla spoke quietly. There are other complaints. Maya looked back. Marla's eyes were fixed on the desk. Old ones. Some never entered properly. Some were closed without review. June. Marla closed her eyes for a second. June. Others. Maya felt the anger again, but this time it was colder, more useful. Then enter them properly. Marla looked up. Maya held her gaze. Not because of me, because you know where they are. She left before Marla could answer. For the next 2 weeks, Maya worked her remaining shifts. Cole did not come onto the dining room floor. His office door stayed closed. That absence changed the restaurant more than his presence ever had. People breathed differently. The bartender talked louder. The bussers joked near the pass. Grace at the host stand stopped flinching whenever the hallway door opened. June watched all of it with a face that said she did not trust peace, but she recognized the sound of it. On Maya's second-to-last night, June found her in the staff room after close. The same bench, the same lockers, different air. June sat beside her. "Marla called me in today," she said. Maya looked over. "About the old complaint." June nodded, asked if I still had emails. "Do you?" June gave her a tired smile. "Honey, I have everything." Maya breathed out. For a while they sat without speaking. Then June said, "You did not just get yourself out." Maya looked at her hands. "I almost did not call him. But you did. I hated needing help." June's voice softened. Need is not the same as surrender. Maya did not answer because the words went too deep. On her final shift, the kitchen made her food. No announcement, no speech. Just a plate placed at the corner of the pass by the head chef, who refused to look sentimental about anything. "Eat before you go," he said. Maya looked at the plate. Steak tips, potatoes, asparagus. The good sauce that was never wasted on staff meals. "Thank you." He shrugged. "You ran food when we were drowning. We remember." So she ate sitting on a stool by the pass while the kitchen closed around her. June leaned against the counter with a cup of coffee. Grace came back and hugged her too hard. The bartender placed a wrapped slice of chocolate cake beside her purse and said, for Elaine, then walked away before Maya could respond. At 11:40, Maya stepped out of the glass lantern through the staff door for the last time. She did not leave her apron behind. She folded it carefully and placed it in her bag. Some things were not trophies. Some things were evidence that she had survived herself. 4 days later, a woman named Caroline Reed called from Harbor House a private dining room near the North End waterfront. "Dominic Cross gave us your name," Caroline said. "He said, you know, service staff pressure guest management and bad owners." Maya sat at her kitchen table, coffee untouched. "Did he say that last part?" Caroline's voice carried a smile. "Not in those words. The position was front of house manager. The pay was clear. The hours were written. Benefits were real. Reports went to Caroline, not Dominic. Payroll was bi-weekly. Complaints were documented through an outside system. Staff left through the front door, not called into private offices after midnight." Maya asked the question she needed answered. "What is expected of me beyond the job?" Caroline did not rush. "Nothing. It is a job, Miss Bennett, not a favor." Maya closed her eyes. "I would like to come in for an interview." The interview lasted 40 minutes. Caroline was direct, sharp, and kind in a way that had the structure beneath it. Maya liked her immediately and did not trust that feeling until she checked it twice. She started the following Monday. Harbor House sat inside an old brick building with tall windows and dark green trim. It was smaller than the glass lantern, quieter, less obsessed with proving its own elegance. The staff looked tired in the normal way people looked tired from work, not the hunted way Maya had learned to recognize. On her first night, a young server named Lily spilled water at the table 5 and went white with panic. Maya took a clean towel from the station and walked over. "Breathe," she said quietly. "It is water, not blood." Lily stared at her, then laughed shakily. Maya helped reset the table. No public correction, no humiliation disguised as training, no performance for guests. Later, Lily found her near the office. "I thought I was fired. For water." My last manager was intense. Maya looked at her. Then she opened the office door wider and left it open. "We do not do closed-door panic here," she said. Lily nodded slowly. Maya felt something settle in her chest. 2 weeks after she started, she saw Dominic again. It was just after closing. The air outside Harbor House was cool and smelled like ocean and stone. Maya stepped onto the sidewalk with her coat over one arm and found him near the curb speaking to his driver beside a black car. He turned before she said anything. Maya Bennett. Dominic Cross. His eyes moved over her face, not searching for damage this time, noting the absence of it. "You look different," he said. She thought about that. "I sleep now." The corner of his mouth almost moved. Good. A quiet stretched between them, not uncomfortable, just charged with everything neither of them had named. "I never thanked you properly," Maya said. "You thanked me that night. I was in shock. You were standing." She looked at him. "You make that sound like enough." It was more than enough. The wind moved through the street. Somewhere behind her, Harbor House staff laughed as they left together. Maya glanced back at the sound. Dominic followed her gaze. "They seem to like you. They are figuring me out. And you. I am figuring out how to work somewhere without waiting for the trap." His expression changed slightly. "That takes time." "Yes." He opened the car door, then paused. "For what it is worth, Caroline said you are good." Maya lifted an eyebrow. "Only good." This time the almost smile became real for half a second. She said, "Very good. I removed the praise so it would not go to your head." Maya laughed before she could stop herself. The sound surprised both of them. It was small, but it belonged to her. Dominic looked at her for one more moment. "I am glad you called." Maya held his gaze. "So am I." He got into the car, and it pulled away without drama. Maya stood on the sidewalk until the taillights disappeared into Boston traffic. Then she turned toward the train station, her bag over her shoulder, her steps steady beneath the evening lights. Inside her wallet, the black card remained tucked behind her license. She did not keep it because she expected to need saving again. She kept it because once in the worst room of her life, she had reached for proof that she was not alone, and a voice on the other end had said her name like the truth had finally arrived. Cole Harrington had laughed when she picked up the phone. By the time Dominic Cross answered, the laughter was already dead.